Hello again. Now, violence has erupted at the University of the Western Cape, allegedly over student evictions. Several security staff have been assaulted. Students are accusing the university of throwing them out on the streets. But the institution says students were informed that they'll be relocated to holiday accommodation so that deep cleaning can take place. Spokesperson for the varsity, Gasant Abarder, is joining us now this hour to give us the latest. Gasant, good afternoon. What's the latest you can tell us about this situation where we saw this violence and we saw some videos going viral on social media?
Thank you, Dan. So the situation is such that all the students now have relocated. So what happens at the end of the year is that students are allowed to apply for vacation accommodation with the university. This falls outside of the academic year, because students are usually expected to leave when their assessments are completed. But what happened this year is that on the 25th of November, the university adopted, or the council approved, an interim COVID-19 policy that says no student from the 3rd of January or staff member may enter the campus, attend university events, or stay on residence if they haven't been vaccinated. So over the last few years, we've been putting off maintenance, and as you can see there, the maintenance is now much needed, with a room being set alight at one of the residences. Thankfully, in this case, no student or staff member was injured, but we are going to use the opportunity for maintenance, much needed maintenance on the university.
Okay, were the security staff assaulted?
Correct. So there has been a case laid with SAPs against the students involved. And as you can see there from the images, the staff had wanted to help the students pack up to relocate. We had informed the students on the 2nd of December already that they needed to vacate the residences, and that alternative accommodation would be made available at the same cost that they would usually pay for vacation accommodation. Now, in some cases where students said that they couldn't afford the 75 Rand a night, the university would then defer that cost and add it to the student account. It's also close to amenities like transport and the shops. And so we were fully cognizant of the fact that some students work over the vacation period. So we are of the opinion that the accommodation is conducive to a similar accommodation to that of the university.
So why did the students in this case behave or react the way they did and claim that they were being forcefully evicted? If you say there has been communication, where was the gap then, or misunderstanding?
So it's difficult to say, because the narrative that's been carried in the media was evictions, and they weren't evictions. The students were told about the relocation quite early on Friday, when the deadline arrived on the 17th of December, that if they needed vacation accommodation, that can be arranged. But at the same time, what is usually the case at all the universities in the country is that vacation accommodation isn't a guarantee. You know, you can apply for it, and if there is a space to do it, we can do so. But in this instance, because of the maintenance work, but also the COVID-19 policy, we needed to clear the residences, vacate them for cleaning, but also to make sure that next year, when residences are occupied, that people who do so have the COVID-19 vaccination.
So you did tell the students that you're going to be deep cleaning?
Correct. And also, because of the COVID-19 policy, it's a policy that was a very consultative process, where the SRC who serve on council were also part and parcel of the consultation and the interaction and the engagement around it.
Yeah, but clearly there was a misunderstanding. You as a university are saying it was not evictions. We were giving them the opportunity to relocate or apply for vacation accommodation. We wanted to deep clean. But somehow it ends up in that scuffle and the assault you see, which has now, you said, has resulted in charges. How many students are facing charges? Who's laid the charges?
The staff members laid the charge. So the students called the SAPS yesterday, and after finding out what was going on, they actually tried to persuade the students to move to the alternative accommodation, and that's where things got out of hand. Stones were thrown at staff members. I don't know how many students have been charged or faced charges. And hot water was thrown at staff members as well. And the pictures you're currently seeing is the room that was set alight.
But you do know, and you can confirm that one of the staff members has laid a charge or so against a student or more.
Correct. That is the case.
Yeah. So at the moment...
So currently what's...
Yeah?
No, so what's happened was the students approached the courts for an urgent interdict to prevent the relocation, but the university was able to argue successfully that for mediation, because there is alternative accommodation, there is also transport that was arranged at the university's cost to take the students to this accommodation. And we even sent food through for those students who were relocated, and we're planning to do so over the course of the next few hours as well.
And are you comfortable that the students are well taken care of now after we've seen this violence happening, the way they reacted? Because you said you took care of the transport, so you transported them at the cost of the varsity. You've ensured that they had food, and but you've also ensured that they are not going to pay much more than they would otherwise.
Yeah, they'll be paying the same amount that they would have had they stayed at the university's residences. I've seen it personally, the accommodation. It is there's a swimming pool at one of the facilities, there's braai areas, and the rooms are all new, the furniture, and it's very conducive to a quality standard of accommodation.
Yeah, and Gasant, you say this happens every year, that students are offered alternative accommodation in terms of this time of the year, the holiday period, and at a reasonable cost, as you say, or at the same cost as they would pay when they stay at the residences.
Correct. So it's not usually the case for the alternative accommodation, but in this instance, with the COVID-19 situation, our policy, and also the need to do maintenance work, we usually accommodate students who apply for vacation stay, but in this instance, and it was communicated quite early in the month, that we needed to vacate the residences on and off campus, all the official UWC residences.
Okay, so the official stance of the varsity is that these were not evictions. This was a relocation program that was communicated very clearly to the students, and that, but as we see today, after the things got out of hand, one of your staff members there has laid a charge against a student and staff, and that could be a charge of assault.
I'm not sure what the charge is, but just to mention, Dan, and just to give you some perspective, it isn't the relocation of all the students. So 2,750 students are on residence. The majority of those students complied. On Friday, there were about 100 students who hadn't complied to the call to vacate the residences. Not all of them need holiday accommodation, or vacation accommodation. So by 12 o'clock today, when the university officially closed, all the students had relocated.